Hey guys, it's Alyssa here, and today I wanted to bring you a new video. But before we get into the video, I did want to address I did get new lighting. We've recently reached 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to every single one of you. I appreciate and love every single one of you. You guys are great. But I wanted to get new lighting in celebration of that. So I hope you enjoy. Can't promise the background won't change like it has in the past. I know like every video is like a new background, and I hope we can have some consistency for a while. But otherwise, I would like to get into today's video. Today's video is my essentials for veterinary technicians. For me, if you guys aren't aware, I am currently an emergency room veterinary technician or veterinary nurse at a 24/7 facility, and then I also work per diem as a large animal veterinary technician at a referral hospital as well. So these are kind of my tips and tricks for both of those places, but mainly for veterinary technicians in general. There are certain things that are easier to obtain than others, and kind of other ones that you're gonna accumulate with time. But let's get into the video. So number one would have to be my stethoscope. This is my stethoscope. This is, I think, the Littman series 3. This is a 3M Littman Classic 3. I've had this for over a year now. I hang it on my rearview mirror, so that's why it's shaped like this. And then I rip it out of my hair, it's fine. So I wear and use this every single shift. I have used it in pretty much every single patient I've used for the most part over the last few years. I wear it every single day. It's a stethoscope, helps me get vitals, monitor patients under sedation and anesthesia. You're gonna need it. Having a stethoscope, I never once needed it when I worked in general practice. When I was in general practice, the techs at that facility didn't really do as much tech-wise. The doctors would do a lot of it, and then there were like 2 surgery techs that would do surgeries. So otherwise, I never once needed my stethoscope during general practice. It depends on your facility. I don't want to do like a broad spectrum and say that that's for every facility, because a lot of general practice, I know a lot of places the techs get vitals before the doctors go in, like I do in ER, but I know that is common in general practice, just not at the facility I worked at. So if you're new to the industry, maybe wait if you don't have one already and ask your tech manager or your boss and see if you're gonna need one before getting it, because they can be kind of expensive. I think I got mine on Amazon for $90-something. But I love it, it's worth it, and it's great. You don't obviously have to get this one. I know most of my coworkers use the Littmans, but you could really get any stethoscope. Number 2 would be my watch. So if you guys care, I have an Apple Watch Series 3, and I usually leave my watch on this screen. You can see it's kind of backwards, but I usually use this one. This is the one I scroll to whenever I get vitals. A watch is very important. I know when I'm triage, I have to write the time that they come in on the actual form, and then I use it for obtaining vitals. I use the second hand rotation when I'm obtaining vitals, and then also monitoring under sedation, anesthesia, same thing, monitoring vitals. It's great to know what time it is, where you are in your shift, when people are coming in. Just have a watch. You're gonna need a second hand, but I just recommend having a watch in general. Number 3 would be to have multiple pens. So I at least have 2 pens on me at all times, just in case one dies, if one breaks, if I'm in isolation and there's no pen and I have to throw it out before coming out of isolation, because you're not supposed to like bring those materials in and out because they can be fomites and transmit different things. But always have multiple pens on you. I know the amount of times that doctors have asked me for pens, or other techs have asked me for pens to be able to write vitals down on sheets, to triage patients, to mark down what, like you have to label when you pull up a drug and put that on the syringe. You have to do that. For going over estimates with clients, What else do we use pens for? Literally everything. Writing notes to yourself to remind you to do stuff later, or just like have multiple pens. It's never wrong to have multiple pens. Next would be to have Sharpies. So a lot of my coworkers don't have Sharpies on them. I recommend it. I write on blood tubes with Sharpie because if you for some reason need to wipe the blood tube off with any alcohol or anything to clean it, it's like coming out of ISO to run blood work, you do have to clean it. And then Sharpies, they do last on those rather than pens. I tend to use Sharpies to write on the labels that go on different syringes, or when I work more on the large animal part of my job, we do just write straight down the syringe for fluids, or all the medications there are oral. So, and they don't have the stickers, so you just have to write on the syringe, and a pen can't write on a syringe. So have Sharpies. I recommend at least one. I always bring two. Some days I'll end up with three, and I accidentally take one from work. Some days I'll end up with one, and then I have one of the ones from my car that I take before I take in. Recommended either way. I always recommend having a couple. The next item would be to have a highlighter. I tend to use either yellow or orange, doesn't really matter. Usually to highlight, like the doctors will highlight estimates. We have like sheets that have everything that we pretty much offer on them, and the doctors highlight it for what we put on an estimate before we go over it with the client. That's important for that. A lot of times when we have to highlight a sheet to bring down to the lab to run blood work, we highlight, it's the same thing. Highlight what we need and write the patient's name on the sheet. I'll sometimes do it when highlighting discharges, if there's certain information on when to start a medication, when to take off a bandage, when to get rechecked, when to have the sutures removed, that kind of thing. That's important to have highlighted. It's great to have a highlighter. I didn't really need it in general practice, but I definitely have used it a lot more in ER, and I feel like a lot of the doctors, a lot of the times if they don't have one with them, they're always like looking for one, and I'm like, here, have my highlighter, highlight it, please. Recommendation is just to have an extra change of scrubs with you. I have one. We have lockers upstairs at my facility, and I always have an extra pair in there just in case if I get urinated on. Any activated charcoal, which is black, and we wear light blue scrubs. Always recommend that for having if any patients have any bowel movements, and if you accidentally get in or have diarrhea, if any vomit, anal glands, blood, urine. There's so many different materials that can get on your scrubs, and a small amount it's like okay, but if you get like a large amount, like my coworker the other day, who just got fully urinated on by a pet, and she had to like fully go change because obviously it was the beginning of her shift and she wasn't going to sit in that for the rest of her shift. So just always have an extra change of scrubs with you to be on the safe side. There have only been like 1 or 2 shifts that I've needed it, but it's great to have just in case. My next item is something that I only recently got when I started working in large animal medicine, because I think they're more needed, and we do usually have to have them on us, are bandage scissors. So these are my bandage scissors for working in large animal medicine. That's why they're so ginormous, just to help cut really any bandages off of a patient like safely, because they do have like this little knob on there to help get under the bandage to get it off. But I do not have any small animal ones. I do need to get some, but the amount of bandages that we cut off during a day is a lot, whether it's cutting off the tape off the back, like you catheters in the front leg, and it's taped all the way around, and you cut up the back of the leg to easily take the catheter off, just if like an animal's being too wiggly for you to like untape it one by one, or like for bandage changes, anything like that, you would need bandage scissors for, and it's easier if you have your own because you can make sure they're sharp. A lot of times at my small animal ER, we like never have them. They're always missing. They're always in some weird undisclosed location, and then we'll have them for a day when somebody finds a bunch of them, put them back, and then they're gone. So, and then I have a couple coworkers that always carry them on them, and I'm always like, hey, can I borrow your bandage scissors? So I just recommend having that. That is something that I would say comes more on the ER kind of things. I never needed bandage scissors in working in general practice. If I needed them, There was always a pair or two where I know they were, and they were usually there. But it was like very rare occasions that would be needed. Otherwise, ER, I need them a lot. Large animal, I need them a lot. My next thing is probably one of the most important ones, is going to be have water. This is my hydro flask. This is a 40-ounce hydro flask that I refill with this thing. So I need to get a reusable one of these. I've had this for multiple weeks, which I know probably isn't healthy, but I refill this every morning at my house. Clearly I'm not doing too well today, seeing as it's 4 p.m. and I still have this much to drink and this is not empty. I refill this with this. I try to drink one of these on my way to work, one at work, and one on the way home, and then I still have a little bit left on like when I get home. That does not always happen. But I would always recommend at least having a water bottle. At least you can fill it at work. I'm just excessive and I like being hydrated, and I try to drink this every day to make myself feel better. Don't have to do this. I do recommend having at least a water bottle to refill. Working in veterinary medicine is physically exhausting, whether it's restraining patients, doing treatments, taking x-rays, all this kind of stuff. It does take a lot out of you. You need to make sure that you are hydrated at all times. I know in ER it's a lot harder for us. We don't get scheduled breaks. We waive our breaks. So you kind of do it when you can. That's why I try to drink a bunch on my way in and way home, just in case if I can't drink any at work, which is not that uncommon. Always better to be safe than sorry. Just have water with you. My next recommendation would be snacks. These are some of my go-tos: pretzels and hummus. Harder to eat in an ER setting, easier to eat in general practice. Apples, harder to eat in ER settings. I like doing apples with peanut butter when I can. That doesn't always happen. I do recommend for lunches to bring like sandwiches or something that's really easy to eat. Lately I have not been bringing those, and it's harder working in emergency medicine to find time to do that, especially when we don't get breaks. I do recommend just bringing multiple snacks. Like I said earlier, this job is pretty exhausting and does require a lot of like moving, restraining of animals. Just bring snacks just to make sure, even if you don't get a chance to have a full meal, you can have some sort of calorie intake. My next item would be some sort of unscented lotion. That's not how it's that, right? No. My next thing would be some sort of unscented lotion. I like this First Aid Beauty one. I feel like a beauty YouTuber. By First Aid Beauty. I like this one. I also have the Hemp's like little mini one in my lunch bag if I ever need it in the winter. I live in New England and work in New England, and it's very, very dry. My facility has like the most dry air. I always am like so thirsty. Because we wash our hands non-stop. Any sort of medical field, animal, human, anything, you're always washing your hands. It's always great to have lotion. I know in the dead of winter my hands were getting so chapped and so painful that I would like just shower, not use any soap or anything yet, and my hands would be burning because they were so dry and irritated, and I have really sensitive skin. I do recommend even just leaving it in your bag. Multiple times my coworkers have been like, hey, do you have any lotion? And I do, because I am over prepared and I have everything. And then my last thing would be to, especially in the colder months or like rainy days, to have a sweatshirt or a jacket with you, just for, I tend to not be super cold, but I have a lot of coworkers that are cold year round, and they're always wearing their sweatshirts and jackets and everything. I tend to really only wear mine in the winter, and then I did not really need it working in general practice at all, but I did need it working in ER and large animal, especially in the colder months, just because we're constantly in and outside, and our place is always, my working facility where I work for large animal, it's usually very cold because it's for large animal. They're not used to the temperatures that humans and pets are used to, whereas in ER, it's just if we have to go outside in the snow for a down animal that we need the gurney for, we're out in all types of weather, whether it's rain, snow, hail, sleet, hurricanes, like everything, we would be out getting that animal. And otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are pretty much my top essentials for being a veterinary technician. Really kind of tailored towards emergency medicine and large animal medicine, because that's where I work. And these are the items and tips that have helped me adapt and be able to do my job better and function more being a veterinary nurse or veterinary technician. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any other video suggestions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys and have a great rest of your day. Bye everyone.